Here we are coming.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Jackie, good morning. I'm going to turn it over to you. Jackie McKelvey, we're excited.
Thank you so much, you guys. It's
You.
so great. Thank you so much, Tom. And I know you had a busy day, and I'm excited to share with you. You guys, I have only had one cup of coffee, just one. Normally it's about 3 or 4 by now, and I am so excited to be here. So, we're talking about goal crushing habits. We're entering into the new year. We've probably all had time to kind of reflect. How did the year go? Where did I grow? Where did I improve? How well did I get to my goals? So we're going to talk about that as we reflect in the coming year. And so, I know many of you probably read Atomic Habits, and I love the theme of our team meeting is Atomic Habits team meeting. And so just make no mistake about it, you guys, no matter how well last year went, the results that you saw last year were in direct proportion to your habits. Now, that's an interesting thought, right? If you had great results, it's a result of, or it's a direct proportion to the effective habits that you had. Now, no judgment, no condemnation here in that, but how'd you do, and how well did you execute? And it's in direct proportion to your habits. And I'm going to throw up a PowerPoint here, if I can, and we can keep admitting everybody coming in. I've got a good group here today. And so I want to just talk a little bit about, maybe we'll go once everyone is in. If you had good results, you had effective habits. If your results came short to what you wanted to achieve last year, then it probably was ineffective habits. I remember early on, you guys, I just joined this company in September. Over the summer, I had the awesome privilege of meeting Gene Frederick. And what was completely mind-boggling about him was when he showed me a sample of his revenue share check. And you seriously, like 7-figure, like a month, 6 to 7 figure right there around that, like a month, you guys, that was just mind-boggling. And, it's easy to say, wow, he must be awesome. He must be great. And he is, make no mistake. My first question, though, as we got to sit down for a few minutes, was, what were his habits? What were his habits? Like, to achieve such greatness, it's so easy for us to look like, well, how did he say things? What was his scripts? What were his dialogues, which are all important? But my question is, what were his habits? To achieve greatness like that, you need incredible, effective habits. And the good news, you guys, is everyone here on this call can duplicate those habits. Our skills will grow and continue to grow as we are in the game, right? But we can duplicate any habit. That's why I wanted to ask him, what were his habits? We all think about Kobe Bryant, right? Just this incredible athlete, basketball player. And, when you dive into that a little bit, what were his habits? And in reality, his off season, right, when everybody was resting and maybe taking off, he was 6 hours a day off season, you guys, 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, working out and working on his dribble, improving his shot, and working on the things that on his weaknesses in the weight room. Guys, he was so super diligent, and that's what his habits were. So that's what I want to share. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. I've just got a quick I promise, non-fancy PowerPoint that I put together today or this morning. So I promise you, it keeps, let me try this again. There we go. Can you guys all see my screen? Everybody see it? So one of the things that I want to just start with this morning is I think an incredible definition of a habit. What does it mean? What does a habit actually mean? And there's kind of three parts of this definition. First of all, it's an acquired behavior pattern. You see, that's the good news about what Gene Friedrich created, is he acquired a behavior pattern. It wasn't the default, you guys. You don't just slip into success. You don't just slip into greatness. It starts with acquiring a behavior, and that becomes a pattern. Now, that's the first part of that definition. Second is it's regularly followed. It's followed frequently, again and again and again and again. And it then becomes involuntary. Now, what that means is it's when you do something over and over and over and over again, you can then do it without even thinking. An acquired behavior pattern that's regularly followed until it becomes involuntary, you and I do all the time. I remember, I know when I drive out of my garage and I leave my home and I drive out of my garage, I am, obviously hitting that button to close the garage door. And I can't tell you how many times when we first moved into this location, that as I left the property, maybe a few houses down, I was like, did I close that garage door? I don't think I did. So I'd turn around, go back, and sure enough, I did. I can't tell you how many times I turned around or backed up. Did I close it? I don't remember closing it. And see, that behavior of me pushing that button was now involuntary. I didn't even remember it. It was so habitual that it became involuntary. And so that's what I'm talking about, that you can create in this business. Let me ask you this. What would it look like if the habits you built were actually habits that literally built that incredible life that you want to achieve? Like, that's an incredible question. What would it look like if the habits you built that become involuntary, right, were literally the habits that helped you to create the incredible life you're working to build? You see, that was the question I had for Gene Friedrich, because he had built an incredible life. He has an incredible life. And what habits did he build consistently that helped him create that beautiful life? And so if you like the results you got last year, repeat those habits. Repeat those habits. If you like the results and you want better, even more results like that, repeat and increase those habits. Just multiply those same habits, multiply them. If you don't like the results you got last year, then you need to improve the habits. And so let me just chat about this really quick. Let me go to my next screen. There are some serious, powerful habits that we're just going to talk about. You guys, this is nothing new under the sun. I just want to heighten your awareness on it. And we've talked about it before. And the first thing is a strong mindset with a powerful why. And when I would meet with brand new agents that were looking to get into the business, and they didn't have a strong mindset and they didn't have a powerful why, I'm also a coach, I knew where I needed to start, because your mindset has to be strong, because you're going to weather some tough storms in this business. And you need to know how. It's called mental fitness. We talk about physical fitness all the time, and it's awesome and powerful and a great a great conversation. But we got to also talk about mental fitness. You got to have a strong mindset with a powerful why. A powerful why that's going to get you over those hurdles. And when I think about a powerful why, I think about, the illustration you probably heard before. If you were on the top of a 30-story building and there was a 2x4 stretching across that building to the next building across the street that's also 30 stories high. And if there's a 2x4 stretched across there, so you're on one, and on the other building, there's $1,000 cash. So the question is, are you going to walk across that 2x4 and get that $1,000 cash? Probably not. You're probably not going to risk your life because that's just not worth the risk. Yet, if your 1.5-year-old toddler was on the other side, like, you will do anything to get over there right now, anything. And that's because that commitment grew because the value on the other side was so much higher. That's what a powerful why can do for you. It's about what you're going to create for you, and more importantly, what you're going to create for other people, or those people that are important to you in your life. So we're not going to talk much about this today, but that's a whole conversation. The next thing is clear, smart goals. This is another powerful habit. Clear, smart goals with a strong business plan. Now, SMART, what do we mean by that? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time stamped. Right? You need SMART goals that have a buy-win specific to it. And instead of just a cloudy, like, oh, I just want to make more money. I need to make more money. Well, how much? And that is empowered by a strong business plan. If any of you guys went to business planning clinics over October, November, December of last year, this is going to be very familiar with you or to you. And I actually am kind of copying Tom Dave's next, what we call a 1-4-5. And I made a couple of tweaks to it. So let me just kind of give you an idea what this can look like. So there's a couple key components here, you guys, I don't want you to miss. This is not just a complicated, like, lots of information, lots of facts and figures and ideas here. This is a business plan that can create the habits, right? It's one of the big, powerful habits that you can have, but it also feeds more great, awesome habits. So a 1-4-5 is pretty simple. The 1 stands for the 1 annual goal. Now, some people might just put the volume or the volume they want to do, or they might want to put the commissions that they're going to get as their goal. That's great. It's great. I'd really encourage you also to put the number of transactions here, because the number of transactions that you grow towards is going to feed that revenue. And some people might do the revenue with half of the transactions, and then they just maybe stop because maybe their price point went a lot higher, which is great. But the number of transactions is gonna be really, really critical here. So I'd really encourage you on your annual goal, put your transaction count there as well. So that's the 1. The 4 stands for the 4 pillars. You want maybe 3 or 4 pillars, not more than 4, typically. How are you going to find your business this year? And so your 4 pillars are the pillars of business that you're going to find your business from. And a quick key here is, how many units are you anticipating per pillar? Because if I know in my sphere, I want to find 12 units there, Well, that's a little bit of a smarter measurable goal, because now I know out of this pillar, this is what I want to create. Now, guys, if your sphere is the only thing you're doing, and that's feeding you the business that you want, that's fine. That's great. You don't even have to have 4 if you don't want to. But if you have with your pillar, how many units do you expect to get out of that pillar? And so a couple of like little keys here that I want to show you in your what we call the 5 strategies. So the 1 is the annual goal, the 4 is the 4 pillars, the 5 is the 5 strategies underneath each pillar. And one thing I would make, I guess, make clear is that in your business plan, you need to know who are you calling out of that pillar on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, right? Because this is what's got to feed into your calendar, which we'll talk about in a minute. So for example, my sphere, I'm going to call 10 a day, do 10 texts a day, and do 10 emails a day. That's what's going to show up on my calendar. So the key is to have a plan that literally feeds into your calendar on a consistent basis. For example, if I'm doing open houses and I want to close 6 units from my open house pillar, right? I'm going to do 2, 3 open houses a month. And there's some ideas there. And then down here at the bottom, there's my item that's going to show up on my calendar on a daily basis in my top 20%, which we'll talk about in a minute. So the key to this, and then we can't spend a ton of time on it, is get your plan together. And you guys, this should already be done. If it's not, that's okay. Get it done. Get your plan done. And know where you're gonna put those items on your calendar to make this something that's just not a plan, but it's actually a plan of action. So I love the 145. I think it's really, really critical to just get a bird's eye look at your business and where are those transactions going to come from. And that's a great habit. Okay. So next powerful habit. Okay. This is where I get way, way too excited. You're like, Jackie, you're such a geek. Seriously. You get excited about this. I do. I really do. So lead gen, this is your top 20%. And I did a training and we talk about it all the time. This is the thing, you guys, that's going to move you closer to a closing table. This is the element that just has to happen on a daily basis. Lead gen, right? Calling people that maybe you don't know. People that maybe you just don't know very well. Many times people think of lead gen as I'm gonna call someone that's not in my database or that I just put in my database. They don't know me very well, right? There's the lead gen piece of it that just has to happen. And you guys, I put this daily. And you know, the beautiful thing is, you know, I realized that there's so much to do in real estate. Oh my word, I get it. You're like, seriously, there's so much to do. I had an agent one time put all the things that they do for their business, and literally they listed it out from start to finish. It took them a couple of weeks and they came up with a list of 7 pages long and multiple columns. You guys, it's ridiculous what we do in this business. And I'll tell you that there's the top 20% of the things that's going to move the needle for you. And there's the other 80%. It doesn't mean that the other 80% is irrelevant or not important or bad. It's just that those things are not going to literally move your business forward yet. It's this. And so it's lead gen, and lead follow-up is just following up with those leads or those people in your database that you already know or know better. It's following up with those open house contacts that you just got, is following up with those people that are maybe in your farm or whatever lever or pillar of business that you're doing. And I'm telling you guys, it has to be daily. You guys, that's champion habits. It's champion habits is daily. If, we have the old quote that I've said so many times, let's say I'm going to lead gen and lead follow up in the morning and something happens, right? Let's say someone gets sick and, something legit happens. Or let's say a $1 million seller calls and says, hey, I'd love to list my house with you. Can you come over now? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And if you erase, you must replace. When are you going to do that lead gen and follow up later today? Or if you can't get that done today, when are you going to do it on Saturday? Because it just has to be a daily habit. You guys, that's champion habits right there. Script practice is awesome because script practice helps you to sharpen your saw. It's collaborating with other agents. It's helping them to, and I got to watch my time here. Oh, my word. It's helping them to sharpen their skill, and it's helping you to sharpen your skills as well. Going on appointments. Awesome. Oh, my word. Yes, yes, yes. Going on a seller's consult, a buyer's consult, negotiating contracts. Yes, yes, yes. But I'll tell you on this slide, no matter what you do or what you are able to do, just be sure that this lead gen and lead follow-up happens every day. You may not have an appointment to go on today. You may not have a contract to negotiate. That's great. That's fine. Be sure you get this done. You may have a lot to negotiate and several appointments. Be sure that this lead gen and follow-up gets done. Those are champion atomic habits. And last, be accountable and report your numbers every day. And I love this. And I love the aspect of having someone that you can talk with, maybe a coach. You guys, hiring a coach is awesome because they can help you keep on task. And anybody that I do coach, I get their numbers on a daily basis. I request that. How many dials, how many contacts how many conversations did they have? How many appointments did they set? How many appointments did they go on? How many agreements did they get signed? Right? It's those numbers reporting that just keeps you on task, and it just helps you more and more and more. And of course, I'm going to plug Dialing for Dollars. It comes up at 10:45, or in my time, 10:45, 9:45 Pacific time. That's exactly what we do. We lead gen and follow up and script practice. And if you're not a part of that, and you're doing it with someone else, or you're doing it on your schedule, that's great. If you're not, you guys, it's just a great way to plug in. Those of us that do show up, we're just loving it. So I just want you to remember this. In order to have what most people don't have, you're going to have to do what most people won't do. And you guys, when I first started real estate, this was my mantra. I just knew enough about business to understand this concept. And I got started in this business, and I asked my coach, okay, well, what do most people not want to do? Because I knew nothing, zilch. And my coach said, well, get on the phone 3 to 4 hours a day and call people and talk to people. I'm like, that's what most people won't do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. When I first got that's what I did. Day in, day out. I came to the office, and you guys, the good news is I got done about 1 o'clock. I didn't have any appointments to go on. I didn't have much to do. I got done with my business by about 1 o'clock. And I dialed for 4 hours. And you guys, when the phone felt like it was 100 pounds in wait, most people won't pick up the phone. And that's what I said to myself. Most people won't do it. Jackie, you got to pick it up. Pick up the phone, dial. When that contact that I was going to dial felt intimidating to me, felt like I'm a little scared to dial that person, this powerful person or whatever it was, my dentist or my lawyer or my doctor, I don't even care. What do most people not do? They don't dial that person. What did I do? I hit the red button, the dial button on my phone. And guess what? The courage showed up by the time they answered. And so that was my mantra when I didn't feel like it. There are those days we don't feel like it. What will most people not do? They won't do it because they don't feel like it. When I had an awful experience and maybe face some rejection, what do most people do? They don't pick up that phone again, maybe for a while, right? If it's a bad experience, you don't want to do it. I remember one time I was door knocking and this guy walked up to the door, this big guy, and I had stepped off the front step a little bit. So he was like way up there. As a big guy, he comes at the door. He has an actual pleasant expression on his face. And I started, and he said, hello. And I said, hi, my name is Jackie. And I started my script about 3 seconds into it. And he got this scowl on his face. And you guys, there were people working in the yards in this neighborhood, like all over. There were people outside. He got this scowl on his face. And as loud as he could yell, he said, I hate it when people like you come to my door, and slammed the door shut. And it was like, whoa, you just thought, what just happened? And I remember thinking, okay, what do most people do? Like literally, I wanted to go get in my car and hide and like never, ever, ever knock on a door again. What most people will do maybe is that. And what I did instead is what most people won't do. I went and knocked on the next door. I never ended my day on a bad note like that. And so that was my mantra. And I just have to remind you guys, everyone wants greatness until they find out what greatness requires. And this is what it requires. It requires that grill and that grit to stay the course and to get to your goals and develop those habits that you're doing so repeatedly that it just becomes natural. I stepped into the team leader role about 2-3 years later, and you guys, many are not successful in that role. And it is, I think, in my opinion, the hardest role on the planet. And I succeeded because I had developed the habit of lead gen, and this was lead gen in a different way. And the good news is you just have to be hyper vigilant on the habits that are going to get you there. And you don't have to be this strong, mighty warrior, 10 hours a day. If you're just that 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, you can go to bed at night knowing, yes, I didn't get some things done, but I did what it takes to be a great agent and to get to my goals. And I want to remind you of, there's this book. It's just a simple read. It's called, oops, you can't really see it. I'll just read it. Chop Wood, Carry Water by Joshua Metcalf. And I want to read you a quote in finalizing this. When it comes to the habits that you're demonstrating on a daily basis, never forget, you do not shine under the bright lights. The bright lights only reveal your work in the dark. We get so used to seeing superstars on game day that we forget what we do not see, all the hours they spend beating on their craft, drenched in sweat at the point of exhaustion with no one watching. Too many people seek the exposure from the bright lights, but the bright lights only expose their lack of faithfulness to their craft in the dark. And so it's so true is when no one's watching, right? That's where you're winning, when you're developing and demonstrating these strong habits. When no one sees it, especially when you don't feel like it, and when that phone feels so heavy and you pick it up, in my mind, in my estimation, you're an absolute champion. So I know I've gone over a little bit, and we have a few minutes. I would love to know if you guys have any thoughts, any comments, anything you'd like to share. What do you think?
Well, thank you so much. This was great. I'd love to know what you picked up with Gene's magic. Like what is his habits? I mean, we all heard the prospecting, it's brilliant, and I love it's being brought into us, but do you have any thoughts on Gene's? Like when you talk to him, like what is his things that's so special? He's got his goals, he's got his routine, but anything you can offer?
Yeah, I can. He did everything he could to go on 3 agent attraction appointments a day. He set himself up for success, and his appointment started at 11. He had another one at 1, and he had another one at 3. And he did everything he could to just get those appointments on the books day in, day out. And that's what I gained from him. And you guys, that I just want to emphasize, like we want to duplicate that greatness. The good news is we can by developing the habits, because that's completely in your control, is the habit to develop. And, I just want to brag on like Ms. Kim Mason over here. She's showing up at Dialing for Dollars and, just rocking it like crazy, and setting agent attraction appointments, setting seller appointments. Like she is killing it. You guys, every one of you can have and be in that greatness, because developing the habit is completely in your control. It's 100%. I love that question. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope that helps. Did that answer?
And I want to share this with the group because I've been taking this seriously. So I have my daily to-do list. I made a template and I've got my daily habit tracker. Everything that I want to do, from health and meditation to goal and 10 calls a day. And it's right there with my schedule, and I print it out and I can want to check it off. And this is a new thing, and I've been trying to track it. And I just think it's so great with time blocking, and it's a template, and it just made it.
I love that, Eric. That is so powerful. A habit tracker. I love it. I wish I had come up with that idea. That is brilliant. Brilliant, my friend. Because you guys, when you develop those strong habits, now we all have poor habits. Yes or yes? Do we not all have poor habits?
Yeah, no, exactly.
We all have poor habits like that. Welcome to humanness. Welcome to humanity, right? It's the intention to develop the right habits that are going to get you to your goal. And I'd have you press right in to the top 20% activities. Make sure that's done daily. And it's going to be powerful for you. Talking to people.
I just
Have a
wanted to say
conversation.
thank you, because you hear so many coaches over the years saying, do it, but to offer the support that you guys offer and actually leading by example is life-changing. So thank you.
You're so welcome. And you guys, I thank you, Anna. You're awesome. I love seeing your habits develop. And you guys, that's it. Is just habitually doing something that it becomes unconscious, just like me pressing that garage door button. I tell you, because of 3 years of that habit development, when I stepped in the team leader role, I was like, okay, I gotta be calling people, because it was unconscious. I had to. I felt different if I wasn't. And I'll say that habit is what helped me to be a successful team leader in the other brokerage, which is the hardest thing in the world to do. And most are not successful. but it was that habit. And I came over to EXP in September and I'm like, okay, I gotta be calling people. I like, this is happening. I gotta have that happen because it developed into a habit, because that's an atomic habit. Talking to people, finding people, talking to people, text, phone, messenger, email, just two-way conversations, having that happen enough is what you can control. I hope you guys are just encouraged. Any last comment or thought?
Well, Jackie, how can someone get a hold of you? I know that you have a few openings in your coaching calendar. If someone wants to reach out, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's just JackieWorksForYou@gmail.com. You guys, I have a couple of openings in my calendar, and all I know is left to our own devices, we're always going to go backwards.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you everyone for joining us. Dialing for Dollars starts at 9:45 a.m. with those habits. So log in. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a good
Okay,
day. Thanks, Jackie.
appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.